Hello world, I'm not Biggs. I'm Chris Pirillo, and this is the LockerGnome Daily Report, or TLDR for short, your daily dose of geek news, product views, and answers that you can use. Like an answer to the question, Chris, when are you going to shave that thing on your face? And the answer to that question is, I don't really know. I'm thinking about holding my lip hostage, or I guess lips, because I got the top part and the bottom part, the soul patch here, because I have a soul, unlike some internet claims. There's my soul patch. And then this, my razor just decided to shut down right in the middle of shaving the other day. Luckily, it stopped here. No, I mean, it ran out of power. I can plug it back in and shave again, but Diana's going to be going on vacation here for about 2 weeks. And so I'm going to be alone. And to entertain myself, I'm going to grow a mustache. To entertain you, on the other hand, I'm going to do this like I normally do every day. Thank you to the 760 patrons. Hey, I'm not good with numbers, okay? But I can usually read them. 760 patrons. Wow. We jumped by about 20 or 25 just in a couple of days, largely because of the pregnancy vlog that we uploaded. There's no such thing as uplit, or is there? Well, I don't know. Either way, when we hit 1,000 patrons, we will tell the patrons what the sex of our child is. Not gender, because gender and sex are different things, and I learned that after I accidentally used or misused the word. So thank you if you're joining us live. If you're not joining us live, you should know that we are live every day on YouTube, and you can tune in just like the rest of the world. Well, at least those who are patrons. This week is Star Wars Week on LockerGnome.com. I don't know if you guys have visited lately, but you should, if only because every day we're posting rather awesome things, or at least things that I think are rather awesome to share, and every week we have a different theme. So we recently celebrated Minecraft Week, but with May the 4th coming up this weekend, you know, May the 4th be with you, that's Star Wars Day, not to be confused with Revenge of the 5th. To ramp up, we are featuring awesome content and cool things that are largely related to the world of Star Wars, like the Boba Fett robe that I have. Look at that. You want your own Boba Fett robe? You can get it at shop.lockergnome.com. A home fit for amphibians? No! It's a Dagobah frog habitat that you can have if you happen to want to have a frog in your house. I don't know. There's the Sterling and Hollings. Hollings? I'm sorry, Peter. I did not mean to mispronounce your last name. Boy, I am just off to a rip-roaring start. Not even finished with my first mug of coffee yet. Out of an Empire Strikes Back mug, nonetheless. The Hollins and Sterling, I guess you would call it like a Star Wars medley. It's a beautiful thing to listen to if you're a fan of Star Wars, but even if you're not a fan of Star Wars, well, you're still going to appreciate it because it was done very, very well. Peter Hollins, by the way, also uses Patreon to get his projects going, so it's another content creator that I'm very, very happy to support. Either way, a ton of awesome things on LockerGnome.com posted over the weekend, including pizza cologne. If you always wanted to smell like pizza, we can tell you how to do just that, theoretically. So, let me make sure everything's going okay here. Swimmingly. People can see. Yeah, so I've been trying to effectively reboot LockerGnome.com and, surfacing really cool, awesome, geeky, nerdy things for you. And so every week is a different theme. And so I appreciate your support in that. Now, let's say you're in the camp of, Chris, I really don't like Star Wars. What else you got for me? Come on, Chris, what else you got? Well, I answered 5 different questions. I almost did this. 5 different questions on my blog, chris.pirillo.com, just in the past day. Let me go ahead and turn off the screen. I'll run through the list of patrons to give them credit, as I've promised later on in this broadcast. The questions that I answered in the past day: how do you boost your internet signal? How do you create and store passwords? How do you deal with an online stalker? Is gaming getting more exciting? And how many computers do you use? 5 questions. 5 questions. Blog posts. chris.pirillo.com. Links are in this video description. I mean, I could talk for an entire day about, how do you boost your internet signal? But most people would get bored with that. So I blogged it instead. There you go. You can read at your own leisure if you want. That's completely up to you. So let's go ahead and slide some bits of news in here. May 3rd, that's the day before May the 4th be with you. Okay, that's not the day. May 4th. May 3rd. Comes before May 4th. I don't know if you knew this. It's called, or it's also known as, I should say, Free Comic Book Day. More information at freecomicbookday.com. This weekend is the ultimate geek weekend, and I'm ramping up for it. I'm so excited. It's something for me. You're the Free Comic Book Day, Star Wars Day. What more could you want? Honestly, free comic book. Check it out, freecomicbookday.com. Most likely, your local comic book shop is supporting this, and so if you want a free comic book, all you really got to do is show up. But, find out if your comic book shop, your local one, is participating or not. Now, since this is Star Wars Week, this is actually really big news for a lot of people who, much like me, are fans of Star Wars. For the longest time, we've had something called the Expanded Universe, or EU. And this would allow us, as Star Wars fans to, live in the Star Wars galaxy or universe without necessarily being, reliant on traditional movies. And even at the time where it really kind of got rebooted, I'm trying to think. The Expanded Universe really started before the prequels. Heir to the Empire really kind of rebooted it. Now, there were Star Wars books around forever. I mean, pretty much since, the Star Wars movie was started. And people liked the Star Wars books. And, of course, there were the Star Wars comics. But for the longest time, that was it. It was just that trilogy. There was no TV show. There was nothing else. And Star Wars fans were left wanting. Well, Timothy Zahn comes along, writes the Heir to the Empire with these great new characters, Grand Admiral Thrawn, all throughout. And, in fact, I have Shadows of the Empire figures around here somewhere. So the Expanded Universe was a big deal because we got to experience Star Wars. Well, now that Disney has the franchise, they've decided that the Expanded Universe can still exist, but as legend, not as canon. So anything that, you knew and loved in the Star Wars universe, if it was in the Expanded Universe, that is not a part of the television series, like the Clone Wars or the upcoming Rebels, or any of the Star Wars movies, it's not in canon. Those are the things that are in canon, the movies and TV shows, at this point. Everything else is now a legend. So it's not stricken, necessarily, from anything that ever happened. It's just not a part of canon. Just legend. Now, some of Expanded Universe's characters have bled in to the canon. For example, in the prequels, in The Phantom Menace, Aurra Sing, a female bounty hunter, was seen as a part of during the pod racing scene. So that was a bleed in from the Expanded Universe. There are a couple of other characters that have bled in as well, including Night Sisters, you might have seen in the Clone Wars. So there are bits and pieces that may be pulled in, but do not expect the new Star Wars movies to be taking anything from the Expanded Universe. This was big news. Huge news for Star Wars geeks. So the Expanded Universe is going to kind of be rebooted. Everything from this point forward will be considered canon. There are new books that are going to be released, and of course, new series, coming out of the Star Wars galaxies. That, to me, that's the big news for me. Now, let's say it's bigger news if you want to wirelessly charge your iPhone 5. That may be interesting to you. I'm not a fan of wireless charging as it's been implemented today, but some people are. Some people are really happy with it. And I know that there are people out there, you possibly, who are interested in it. The problem I have with wireless charging, or Qi as one of the standards is known, is that you have to have the device exactly, spot on, exactly where it needs to be in order to charge. I'm like, I don't even want to worry about that. I'm not a fan of micro USB, not because of the standard micro USB, because you got, the reversible. I cannot wait for the new USB standard to be released, having reversible cables, much like the lightning adapters, or not lightning cables from Apple. So the wireless charging thing is interesting, but to me, it's not a killer feature that I need to have. However, if you want to wirelessly charge your iPhone 5, I've got a deal for you. Deals.LockerGnome.com. You can start wirelessly charging your iPhone 5 right now, and I can save you money on that process if you happen to have an iPhone 5. Deals.LockerGnome.com. I did not leave you out of the game. Now, the other big news, there's a lot of big news this weekend. I'm kind of excited about everything that's been honestly happening as of late. I mean, not excited in the sense of everything's been good, but I think this was interesting news nonetheless. There was a legend. You want to talk about legends? There was a legend that because Atari fumbled, or really kind of started to fail not long after ET, the game, was released. There was a legend that these cartridges, millions of them, were buried, if not millions, and hundreds of thousands were buried in a desert in New Mexico, just outside of Alamogordo, I believe. And this was a legend. No one knew if this was real or not. But the ET video game I remember playing it and thinking, God, this is horrible. I mean, it was so bad. I mean, not the worst game in video game history, but it was just, it didn't have enough time to bake. I think the idea was good, but it was frustrating, and it was not a good kind of challenge that you would expect in a video game. It's been lambasted over the years. So this effectively may have pushed Atari into the position that it was, where it pretty much died. That was pretty much the end of Atari at that point. So these cartridges were buried in this desert. Legend had it. Well, there's a documentary that the Xbox crew has been working on, and I linked this video in the description. I think Xbox posted it to their channel. Of course, Major Nelson is hosting it. I've known Larry for years, long before YouTube existed, that's for sure. Although I haven't had a chance to talk to him as of late. So they exhumed these ET cartridges from the desert. They pulled them out of a landfill. So you want to talk about like a collector's item, like an Atari. That's what I want. I don't want just an ET cartridge. I want one that was pulled from the landfill. A collector's item. Why not? The game sucked. I'd never want to play it again. What would happen is you would take ET and you'd be walking around and you were collecting different pieces of the satellite that you were trying to build a phone home. And to get charged, you would have you'd collect the little Reese's Pieces, these little pixels, these dots. You would fall into a pit, and to lift yourself out, you'd have to use your neck. Your neck would lift up, and then your body would raise out of the pit. But if you didn't strike the edge of the pit just right, you would fall back down into the pit. Which is exactly what happened to all the exhumers in the New Mexico desert. They were exhuming the ET cartridges and kept the exhumers themselves kept falling back into the pit. They were exhuming and they kept falling back. The joke really doesn't work when I say it. I think it's funnier as a visual joke. They didn't really keep falling into the pit. You would understand why this is funny and sad at the same time if you ever played the ET game. Tell me I'm not the only one who ever played the ET game. I know I couldn't be. Don't even try it. Don't attempt it right now because you will get frustrated. Either way, it's no longer a legend. It is absolute fact. They were buried in this landfill. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing that as a documentary. I don't know if that's going to be an Xbox exclusive, but that was another thing that was another bit of news that was released this morning. Xbox Originals are going to be launching in June on the Xbox 360, Xbox One, and other Microsoft devices. Sounds good. I've got Microsoft devices. I don't have an Xbox Gold subscription. Gold. I'm not a member because I just wouldn't take advantage of everything that Xbox Gold or the Xbox Live Gold membership has to offer at this point in time. All right, so now I'm going to move on to something a bit more personal, something that I wrote down. And no, I'm not talking about the bib that, let's see here. Mike Smith sent this for baby Pirillo. Bacon is my happy place. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. This is not my personal story here. And just so everybody doesn't worry, I do not plan on feeding the baby bacon. I don't think you can give babies bacon. That I know of. If you can't give babies bacon, I'm going to start them off the right way, really, here with that. Bacon is my happy. Thank you, Mike. It will go into the baby Pirillo clothing pile. The baby will be using this, I'm sure, but not eating bacon. No, the more personal story is this. I'm always scouting for deals, And, I also happen to be an adult fan of Lego, and that reminds me I'm going to have to show you some of my new acquisitions. New acquisitions. Okay, here's what Geek Quiz, can you name that quote? Who can I attribute that quote to? New acquisitions. New acquisitions. Who said it? Do you know? You should know. Don't Google it or Bing it or search for it. You should know. The personal story I have is related to ordering an item on barnesandnoble.com. There was the Superman, Batman Blu-ray edition that came with a Clark Kent special minifigure. So I ordered it for like $14-15. It was way on sale. I'm like, wow, it was close to like 50% off. So I ordered it, And the package arrived this weekend, and it was just the Blu-ray DVD. It wasn't the special edition with the box with the special minifigure. And I'm like, what the hell? So I go online. I'm like, did I order the right thing? I look at the order form. There indeed is the thumbnail with the proper box that I had ordered. And I go to the order page, and there it is with the minifigure, and everything was fine, except they sent the wrong thing. Even on the order form, it had a /Lego on it. I mean, it was a Lego movie, but it also had /Lego, which would indicate to me that it was supposed to be the special thing that I ordered. So I'm like, okay. On the order form, it says you can go into a Barnes & Noble store and exchange it, or, get things fixed or addressed or replaced. So I go into the store, and I say, you guys gave me the wrong thing. And they looked at it, I'm like, huh. I said, well, this is what I ordered. I printed everything out. I had all of my information. I said, this is what I ordered. This is what you sent. They're two completely different things. Well, apparently, Barnes & Noble, get this. You're going to love this. This is probably, this is the number one, well, okay. This is why I will never buy, until something changes, never buy anything from Barnes & Noble again, despite the price. They have two different things, the same movie. One's got the minifigure, the other one doesn't. Two different things have the same SKU, which means Barnes & Noble did the right thing. They sent me the product number. But the problem is they have two products with the same product number. So I said, okay, can you give me what I'm looking for? And the clerk at the manager at the store said, well, we can reorder it for you, but I can't make any promises that you're going to get what you ordered. What the Really? Okay. Wow. Barnes & Noble. Wow. Horrible. What the? I mean, it's like me going to Amazon and saying, I want a bib, and then they send me a mug. Well, sorry, sir. They have the same product number. We can't guarantee you're going to get something, but at least they're both kind of related to food. Barnes & Noble. Wow. So their customer service agent has responded now on Twitter. Hopefully we're going to resolve it, but they're probably going to point me the same direction, saying it's the same order. It's the same SKU. What the? Dude. Stupid. To the point where, like I said, I do not plan on buying anything from Barnes & Noble from this point forward. I don't care about the price. I want to know I'm going to get what I ordered. So we'll see. We'll see what happens when the new product gets shipped to me. And so I'll give you an update on that if and when it happens. Allegedly, it's been reordered, although I have no idea if I'm going to get the same thing that I didn't want or the thing that I actually wanted. Nerd rage! Do not deny me my Lego minifigures. Meh. All right, let me go ahead and run through the list of patrons who are at a certain patron level where they get their name or website proudly displayed in every TLDR episode that I broadcast on YouTube. And I really appreciate patrons at every level. You guys are making it possible for me not to just do this video, but other videos as well. If you caught in the vlog yesterday, I'm working with Marcus, who is he's a fantastic videographer and photographer, and we're working through a regular series of videos related to some of my passions, partially Lego, partially Star Wars, partially toys, all these things that I think are very geeky to pursue, and things that are going to last well over time. The problem when it comes to talking about technology is it becomes yesterday's news quickly. Or despite the fact that I tweeted about the ET cartridge thing 5 times this weekend, I still had a lot of people emailing to tell me about the same news story that I had already known about or already shared. So it's difficult to try to create content that is out of date a day after the news is released. That's one of the reasons why I've kind of, curved away from doing everything related to technology and gone into general geekiness. I mean, stuff that's interesting news today may not be interesting news tomorrow. So a part of that is wanting to create video experiences that, could last over time and can widen our community base instead of this community as it is now. I want to expand. I want to be able to grow and reach, people that I otherwise would never have been able to reach. Not to mention that some of my more popular videos on YouTube are are, related to Lego stuff. So stay tuned for a Lego Simpsons video, a special one. Hopefully we can get it done this week. I don't know yet how we're going to pull it off, but it's something we're ramping up for because May 4th, the Lego Simpsons, or the Simpsons Lego special, is also happening. So I want to have a video ready for that online. Not exactly like the Lego minifigure unboxing or unbagging that I did last week, a week before, on Easter Sunday. That's when I did it. Was that a week ago? God, time flies when you're having fun. Your name could be there. I update this list of names once a month because Patreon doesn't put things in escrow. If you want your name immediately, you can sign up and we can make certain arrangements by way of PayPal. But once a month, this is when I update this particular presentation. For patrons, I think 25 and higher get their name in. Everyone else gets bonuses. Everyone gets bonuses, really. But, oh, wait, no, I want to kick in my screensaver here. Thinking about going back to using electric sheep, too. Love that screensaver. This one's fun, too, the Tix clocks, but I'm thinking of something more dynamic and wild, like me. So stay tuned for that video. Thank you for all the patrons who are going to get a sneak peek at what we produce. And like I said, I hope to have that done at some point this week. I want to do more of that kind of video. But it takes time, it takes experience, it takes team that I can't necessarily afford with relying on sponsorship or advertising outright. You know, I need to have a base of people who are genuinely interested in the things that I'm doing, and I want to be able to give them, you, potentially, more things than I can give everybody. Does that make sense? Okay, it made sense in my head. What doesn't make sense is if you're using Internet Explorer. I am going to slag you because there's a 0-day bug that's hit IE 6 through 11 users, and if you're on XP, your time is running out fast. Stop using Internet Explorer. I'm very glad to say that my dad, who uses Windows XP proudly at this point, although I think he's going to be evolving soon, he uses Chrome. I forced him onto Chrome a few years ago, and I'm very grateful for that because, Internet Explorer is fine as a web browser. I used to love it, and it's great for what it is, but I just think that Google's taking a better approach with its Chrome browser not being tied to an operating system other than Chrome OS, which is constantly updated. So I really think that it's time to move on from Internet Explorer. Firefox, Chrome, whatever, but IE I think is, I don't know, tying the browser into the OS is just a little weird. I mean, I know Safari comes with OS. I mean, coming with the browser or coming with the operating system is fine, but you almost have to abstract it, right? So that it's not so tied in at that level where if the operating system's no longer supported, well, that browser may no longer be supported. And that's one of the reasons why, Chrome and Google and how it's been pushing its updates, I think is a smarter way of going for users over the long haul, over a period of time. I really, honestly, I do believe that. So, 0-day bug has hit. Internet Explorer has not yet been patched. If you're using IE, don't. At least for now, until that bug is patched, because you could be putting yourself at risk. Skype, speaking of Microsoft, has made group calling free on Windows, Mac, Xbox One, coming to all platforms in the future. So group video calling can now happen on Skype without having to be a premium member, which I thought, years ago, is, when group calling became a feature in Skype, but you had to have the premium level. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to pay just to have group calling. It's not worth it. I thought, well, let's see what else, is out there that's an alternative, because that's not enough of a value for me to pay for it, right? I'll pay for things, but if I know I'm going to get something out of it, right? So if I did a lot of group calls, if Google Plus Hangouts didn't exist, if I needed that to do something else, absolutely, I'd be willing to pay for it, absolutely. But it was no longer a value add for that premium service. And so now it's free. It's one of the reasons it's free, because Skype's getting its butt handed to it. There's nothing that Skype does that I can't do in just about any other messaging platform. My messaging platform of choice at this point is Facebook. That's what I use to message back and forth with friends and colleagues. And I love it. In fact, Facebook Messenger just pushed out a new update that made it easier to push out audio recordings, photos, videos to group chats or individual chats. I'm very, very happy with the new update, at least on iOS for Facebook Messenger. Skype, though, if you use Skype, if you love Skype, if you want group calling on Skype without paying for it, you can now do it on Windows, Mac, or I should say OS 10, because Windows is the operating system, Mac is a hardware platform, OS 10 is the operating system that runs on top of a Mac. and Xbox One. iOS, I'd assume, and Android would be coming, that support, including Windows Phone, would probably be coming at some point in the future. Now, going down the path with Microsoft, for years they've had MSR, Microsoft Research, and they've cranked out so many awesome products over the years. I used to love looking at Microsoft Research projects, and I always wondered, why don't you release these into the wild? Because just to see how users would adapt to them and take them and take them in places that you had no idea where they would go, if only because of community engagement. And I don't know why Microsoft didn't take that direction. Well, it seems they may be. Microsoft Research is launching a special projects group, which is going to be much like Google X. Google X is the entity at Google that's bringing these awesome projects like Glass or Google Car. What are they calling it? Google Automobile? The self-driving car thing? Dude, Google even released a video. I can't play the video back because I don't have the rights to rebroadcast, but they just released a video about what they're doing with the Google self-driving car thing. Google says they're going to have these self-driving cars on the road by 2017, but I think automotive industry experts are saying it's more reasonable to think 2025. But the technology that they're using in these Google self-driving cars is astounding. I'm looking at how they're figuring out, the cars figuring out how to adapt to all these real-life situations. I'm like, wow. I mean, it's got to take into account, like, not a million exactly, it's a bit of an exaggeration, but like a million things that are going on in the environment that even as a driver you're overwhelmed by. But the fact that the computer can compensate for that and make for a safer driving experience, hey, I'm all for it. That to me is where technology gets exciting. It's not just the excitement of a self-driving car, it's the fact that it saves lives. That saves lives, man. That's where technology gets exciting for me. It transforms lives by saving them. There was a story that was released, and I think this was Friday. A girl tweeted. She was taking selfies on the road. She was driving, taking selfies. If you're stopped, parked, or whatever, not a big deal. Well, I don't think it's as big a deal. Still, your primary, thing should be driving, or be paying attention to driving. She was texting while driving, posting to Facebook, "The happy song makes me happy." I guess she was singing about Farrell. She was quoting a Farrell song. He's the guy that has the Arby's hat, the rapper. I'm not hip enough to know what's going on with that. But either way, she posted this to Facebook seconds later. Seconds later, after posting that she was happy because she was listening to a happy song, she died. She killed herself in a car wreck. The technology is great. I mean, if we're talking about I'm looking for my smartphone here. Yeah, so this technology is great for what it is, but it ain't saving lives. The self-driving car can save lives, and I think that's a big deal. That's where I get really excited about talking about this stuff. If you're a comiXology user, you're going to be disappointed when it comes to the app on iPhone and iPad, because in-app purchases have been removed, which could then, in turn, keep you from doing impulse buys. Yikes. I think that this is done because Amazon doesn't want to give Apple a cut. Hey, it's up to Amazon. Will this matter in the end? I don't know. Maybe Amazon will be able to compensate for that. If they lose a lot of money, they'll reverse their decision. But I haven't seen them lose any money, at any point from the decisions that Amazon's made in terms of apps on iOS. I don't know if that's going to be the same way for comiXology. A lot of comiXology users have really been upset about this change. Not being a comiXology user, I have no opinion either way. Suffice it to say, you could say it's a boneheaded move for Amazon, but if Amazon isn't losing money and they're actually making more money in the long run by taking that hit and not allowing Apple to facilitate or for users to be able to buy through the app itself, much like Spotify. You can't buy a Spotify subscription directly from iOS. Spotify doesn't want to give the money to Apple. Don't blame them at all. Pandora, you can buy a subscription through iOS. A lot of ways you can buy subscriptions or stuff through iOS, but you got to give Apple a cut. Microsoft made the decision to allow you to buy through iOS, their Office Live the Office 365. It was a good move. It made it more convenient for users, and I think that over time it's going to balance out for most people who are trying to consume content. In Amazon, they're not in any position where they would need to make that decision otherwise. So, sorry, comiXology users, you're losing out because Amazon doesn't want to play by Apple's game. Did not buy this on Amazon, but I got this at 25% off. Very rarely do I buy a set without saving money. I pass all my savings on to everybody, too. I'm like, hey, you want to know how to save money? I'll tell you how to save money. If you ever want to buy a Lego set, don't. Until you talk to me, because I can save you money. 25% off just by looking online, saying your own website offered it at a discount, and I went into a physical store, not Barnes & Noble, And so they gave me that discount. They did price matching with Amazon too. But this is a crown jewel right here. 3 unique minifigures, very rare in this one. Normally it costs around $100. I got it for, let's see here, 60, 50? About half off. Just about half off on this. Half off on this set. It's very rare to get a discount as steep as 50% off. But I wheeled and dealed and ended up getting this set at 50% off. Not so much interested in the bricks or the build. I'm just a minifigure fan. So that's what I was going for, these minifigures right here. You know, if you're a collector, you got to know what you like to collect, and I like the minifigures. I'm a fan of figures to the point where I mentioned this in the vlog, and I guess I'll start wrapping up now as I've been broadcasting for about a half hour. I had a couple of things on the desk, but they can wait for tomorrow. The thing that I enjoy most about being a geek or just being me at any age has always been figures. So I'm thinking about creating there are a lot of subscription boxes out there. One of my favorite being Love with Food. Of all the subscription boxes out there, the one thing that I count on not being crap every month, Love with Food. Love with Food. They were at Vlogger Fair last year, great supporters, and every time I open it, I get to experience things that I otherwise wouldn't have experienced. I know it's good stuff. High quality stuff with food. And who doesn't like food? Who doesn't eat food? A lot of the other subscription box services, hit or miss. Like, oh, this is junk. So I thought, you know, if I could better identify figures that weren't junk, that I thought were kind of cool, kind of fun, I think a figure subscription box service would be kind of fun too, because I love figures. What can I say? I'm just a figure fan. I've been a figure fan for my entire life, and I've talked about those stories before. Now, speaking of stories, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up and begin my next tale. Every week, I record 5 separate videos just for patrons. One of those videos is made public. The other 4 are private. So you can get a ton of exclusive footage from me if you join Patron. If you join our Patron campaign right now, you can get the back library. The one I'm going to record today is a what would you do if the internet went away tomorrow? If it died tomorrow, what would you do? Today's video will be made public so everyone gets to experience it, but thanks to the patrons for helping make it possible. And thank you for remembering to like, share, comment, subscribe, watch even more of our videos right now, and click the gear icon next to the subscribed button to know when we upload a new video to this channel or the vlog channel. You'll get an email. Check for, you know, Gmail for some reason is putting it into spam potentially. You don't want that. But gear icon next to the subscribe button on a YouTube page. You can't click the gear icon in the video embed. You got to go to the YouTube page and click it there. Don't ask me why. Enable updates. You will be notified immediately if you're not already using the free LockerGnome app for iOS and Android to get the push notifications when we upload a new video. Thanks again for tuning in. At this point, I'm going to leave you to your own devices. We'll see you later.